So we did the same. We had a lot of discussions on the first page. Our topic was the use of geodata on mobile devices. So we had the chance to have Jaro as an expert in this domain. So we asked him a lot of questions. So it was very helpful to be able to apply it to the topic. We actually discussed all the questions at length, and we started to try to think about new clusters. It's not completed yet, but the only thing which was sure in our discussions is that we would create a first cluster of questions which would be called problem characterization, and inside we would have problem orientation, so the very first set of questions. And then we would have after that complexity within the problem characterization and also novelty. So these two are further in the questionnaire, but we would move them up. So the problem orientation, we added to the where is the problem, we added the question, the sub-question, well, what is the problem domain? And then we moved also up to the problem orientation ethics, and we broadened it out to what are the ethical, legal, and societal aspects of the problem. So what are the acronym ELSA? What are all these aspects? And societal encompasses also economy, environment, etc. Knowledge demand, what knowledge is needed, and then we added who has this knowledge and who are the stakeholders involved. What is the technology aspect? Actually, we rephrased it was important to know if it was technology based, but sometimes it has a technological component or technological aspect, so it's not only technology based. So we rephrased these questions into how strong is the relation to the technology. And then we deleted again in the what is the technology aspect, we deleted the two questions, is it an established technology or the innovation stage? And we used the third one, and we phrase it like that: what is the state of the development and the implementation of the technology? Problem-oriented impacts, who's affected? So we focused on the specific individuals who would be affected, but also society as a whole, and the need to take that into account, these interrelations between the individual level and the more collective societal level. Who are the stakeholders? Are they already known? Because sometimes we discovered that there are important stakeholders that had not been taken into account when we first discussed the problem. The TA relevance, we had the same discussion on the unique character of TA, so we actually don't know whether TA has to correspond to something really unique, or does it have, of course it has to be framed in an interesting way. We do not want to duplicate things that have been done elsewhere, but sometimes can we just accept to do a study if it's not unique? So is that very important? So that's still an open question. And we added to that relevance we suppressed complex because we had a whole clusters of question on complexity. We added interdisciplinarity. So is interdisciplinarity required? And why should TA do it? We deleted it because it was also in the next question: is there a need for TA? Input, we reformulated the two first questions and because we had the same discussion as yesterday on reliability. How can you decide that one type of knowledge is reliable or not? And then it was related to trust. And I will come back to that, but we reformulated that in what kind of data and knowledge are available. And then we also discussed the quality of information and knowledge, because it's not only information, it's also knowledge. When there are experts in the domain, you have more than information, more than just raw data as well. So the quality, it's still a question mark. How can we characterize the quality of the information or the data that we will use? And in our discussions, it was also related to trust, to the trust we have regarding certain stakeholders or knowledge users or knowledge providers. So we don't know how to characterize, but it should be problematized if we want to keep quality in in our list. Second page. In terms of output, what kind of output is required? We added, well, is it known? Because sometimes you just, along the route, you discover that you want to organize your study in order to make another output. So you can just have a first thought about it, but then you can leave it open because sometimes the output will change along the way. What are the customers? We reformulated the question into, is there someone commissioning? Because that's very important. Do we have to respond to a demand, or are we being proactive in addressing an issue? Yeah, we added, how can we produce a useful and understandable output for the commissioner, for the client? Impact, we deleted the word impact and we've put objectives instead of impact. And the first question, we wanted to ask it in these terms: how can we have an impact, instead of what impact do we want to achieve? So it was the how question more than the what. And yeah, and the measurability, of course, was addressed. Can we really measure the impact that we will have? Sometimes you can really trace the impact when it's related to a low, for instance, or to a specific output that was required, but then most of the time you cannot really trace it. So when you've raised awareness or you've initiated societal debates, that's one thing, but it's hard to measure. But it's necessary to think in terms of measurability still. National or international relevance, then there was a sort of confusion. Should it be a national or STOA project? It's actually more, well, we have to delete the STOA project. It's more the European character of the project that has to be taken into account, or the cross-national aspect of the project. Does it have to be organized at the national level, also regional level in the case of Flanders, for instance? And then, yeah, we deleted the word process. Is it a national or international process? We added issue instead of process. Yeah. Controversy. We suppressed the last two questions. It's important to know the topic is controversial, and but the last two questions were related to the timing of the controversy, but the timing in general, so we moved them down. And yeah, we moved them down, and we organized it into a question, which is there a need for TA at this stage? So it encompasses the controversy, but not only the controversial aspect of the topic. So do we need to take action now and to produce a report, or to address a problem now? Need for TA method. In terms of solution orientation, we also discussed the necessity to try to map the problem, to map the stakeholders. And then the strategy, it was institutional strategy. We preferred to discuss in terms of strategy in general, and fitting to the mission, we rephrased it into fitting to institutional missions. Is that part of our mandate, or is that part of our clusters of expertise, our agenda? And then we had an interesting discussion on the reflection we have on our own expertise, so our own. Are there individual reflections on values, for instance? Jaro was explaining that he had been managing projects on privacy issues, for instance, or ICT and privacy issues for a long time. And this implies that now he has a sort of expertise with him, and when he has to frame a problem, he knows that, well, he has sort of ideas, more concrete ideas of what the problem is about, and this has an impact in his appreciation, his framing of the problem. So you need to take that into account. Am I too close to the problem, or am I not close enough to it? And just at the individual level, but also at the more collective level of the TA institution. So that's a sort of self-reflexivity questioning that has to be addressed when we think about how we frame the topic. And then, yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay. Great. Thank you.